I'm joined on the Corpsepaint show today by my fellow misotheist, Lexen Destro from KNON. Thank you for being here.
Cheers.
And just real quick, we will talk today about the design for living that is embraced in Finnish culture called sisu with our guest KATJA coming up in 1 minute. Hi, Lexen.
Well, hello.
We're going to talk later in the show about the big event coming up February 16th.
Yes, I cannot wait.
Here in Dallas. So it's post-Valentine's Day. Shenanigans presented by you and me.
That's right.
Which fucking rocks.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
But first, let's bring on our guest, KATJA, who is talking to us all the way from Helsinki or nearby there. KATJA, hello, and good early morning, Monday morning to you.
Good morning.
What time is it there?
It's coming up on, it's exactly 2 a.m.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for staying up so late or waking up so early to chat with us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So, indeed, let's talk about, and I'm holding up your book right now, The Finnish Way, and what a joy it is and refreshing to see that there's somewhere on this planet that has gotten things right.
I know.
And for clarification, were you born in America, lived here, and now are a Finn?
I actually was born in Finland, but we left when I was 3, and we lived in New Zealand for a while, and then we ended up in Vancouver, Canada, and I've lived a lot of different places, but largely in Canada, and now in Finland for more than, 15 years.
But certainly gives you a perspective of comparison to other countries, you know, compared to where you live now.
Yeah, I think so.
So what I learned so much from this book is movement as medicine, the Finnish quality of resilience or fortitude called sisu, forest therapy, ice swims, Lexen's favorite thing. Oh. And really, let's get into the intricacies of sisu. But is it fair to say that this whole culture starts with your great chapter on a pre-kindergarten establishment of fun, free play, and a healthy learning environment that is a good portion of it outdoors?
Yeah, I think that definitely holds true. I think the same challenges we have the same challenges here in Finland that people have in many parts of the world, which is getting kids outdoors and playing and offline. But I think especially when they're young, like preschool age, every day they're outside, whatever the weather, with their daycare class, and you come and pick your kids up from the outdoor playground. So everyone's got the right winter gear. Weather is never an obstacle, and spending time outdoors and in nature is really important.
Weather is never an obstacle. So what you're saying is the kids are outside playing in snowstorms, in rain, in extreme cold, and they're outdoors. And ultimately, that leads to a healthy life, in my opinion, after reading your wonderful book.
Oh, that certainly makes sense. I think it's a value that is just sort of lost here. If the weather is even slightly undesirable, everyone's just locked inside. And basically, the world is closed down, and I'm guilty of it. I hate being cold. So I'm a big whiner about the cold, but I don't know, I think also proper winter gear is important. We don't have that in Texas.
Yeah, what kind of weather do you guys have in Texas in the wintertime? I mean, how cold does it get?
Oh, gosh. Very occasionally we get a little bit of snow. I didn't even believe in snow for the first half of my life. Okay, that's not true, but it's
I'll just say
Sub-Saharan.
so far this year, I think the coldest it's been is like 40, maybe 40 degrees.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
It was like
okay.
38 last
Fahrenheit.
night.
That's still 40.
That's
we
freezing
round
to
up.
me.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think, I mean, that's one of the big things that I really learned when I moved here. Snowing, rain, minus 20, whatever the weather, that's not an obstacle to getting out and to doing things like biking. I mean, I bike year round. It's my form of transportation. And I have studs on my tires so that I can ride if it's icy or snowy, slippery, which it often is for many months of the year during winter.
So studded tires on bikes. So she can get around anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere. If it's icy, if it's snowy, and this is certainly something that's embraced in Finnish culture too, is you ride your bike to work, most people, and to, you know, normal errands.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say like most, I wouldn't say everybody, but I would say that there's a much higher incidence of people biking year round than in many other countries. And yeah, it really is, you know, to the store, to wherever, to work. And then once you've got a good kit, you know, rain gear, winter gear, warm stuff like a hat, or as they say in Canada, a toque. I don't know if you guys say toque down on the other side of the border, but that's what they call them in Canada. You know, proper foot gear and good gloves, then you're pretty much set. It really doesn't matter. And it's such a handy way to get around. It's also, you get a little bit of a workout without going to the gym. And it's good for the environment.
My gosh. And you cite this great source that says bicycle, the mode of transportation for the future. And it really is, because it doesn't spew any exhaust and it helps you, you know, stay mobile, which Americans need.
Oh, we struggle with that.
Yeah,
Yes,
my
being
gosh.
idle.
Right? So I don't know. I thought that was enlightening and very cool.
I think the challenge too, though, is, you know, looking at the structure of a lot of American cities, or I should say North American, because Canada has the same issue, is that they were built for the car and the distances are really great. So it's a huge challenge to cycle to work, let's say, because you need to, if you have a really long distance, you need to have some kind of system in place where maybe you're biking one way and then commuting the other way, or you know, something needs to be worked out. It's not as easy and straightforward as here, where I would say that the average commute is between, I'm talking for people who bicycle to work, it's between about 2 or 3 kilometers to 10 kilometers. And, you know, 10K is something you can do in about an hour. So it's much more manageable. And then there's a network of bike paths. So you don't need to jostle with the traffic and worry about cars. And a lot of places at, you know, large workplace, like if you work for a company, you know, they have showers and saunas on site so that you can freshen up before you go to work.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and so it makes it so much easier to do.
I want to mention, if people are watching or listening, join us in the chat room on our Facebook page. Relay any questions, comments, and we will relay them to you, KATJA. Hey,
Sure.
So, all right. So there's an enlightening quote in the book, Lexen, where a fellow Finnish person says, well, I'm not a bicyclist, but he rides his bike to work every day. It's just that it's a norm. It's a norm for a lot of people to just ride their bike to work.
Well, yeah, I guess like walking, we wouldn't say that we're hikers just because we like to walk places.
Good point. Yeah, exactly right.
But yeah, and then you're absolutely right about the layout in most North American cities, especially here in Texas. Everything is so
horribly
spread out.
designed.
Yeah,
Yes.
and does not have a bicyclist in mind.
You know, and I think of like London too. You know, pubs are built to where you can walk to them and walk home. Not here. You've got to drive if you're going to a pub, and you've got to drive home. How dangerous is that?
Yeah, exactly.
By city design.
Yeah.
But also, you talk about movement as medicine and being healthy, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think of movement also as adding to mental health, not just physical health.
Definitely. Yeah. I could totally agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of research that shows, not only does movement, it doesn't need to be running a marathon or doing an extreme session at the gym, just walking, biking, they really, really help decrease the incidence of lifestyle illnesses, because you're getting the blood pumping, you're getting some exercise, you're getting some fresh air. But also mental health, which is a really big concern. I think the statistics are alarming. I think depression has become one of the largest, if not the leading, cause for disability, work disability. People are really not well. And one thing that exercise does is it really helps to provide kind of medicine, if you will, for what ails us. And just the mere process, of course, it's the endorphins and all the happy hormones that get going when you exercise and you move and you get the heartbeat going and all that. But also just the simple fact of, when you're on your bicycle, for example, you can't be looking at your phone, and, you have to get out of your head slightly and take in your surroundings. Yes. And if you're lucky, those surroundings are a park or a seaside or, something that takes you to another place.
Indeed. The only way to see a city, let's say you're visiting, is by walking or biking.
Yeah,
you don't see a city by driving past it.
Yeah.
And her point also is that we in America, we're secluded, we're on our own, we're locked in our cars. We don't see someone we can wave to or say hi to. It's a natural sense of community when you're on a bike or walking.
And you're absolutely right. We're dying left and right of lifestyle choices,
lifestyle-related
illnesses. It's the greatest killer. And the obvious answer is to get out there and get a little movement. But it's something I feel like for a lot of Americans, it's just out of the question. It's just not even something we think about. The cure to depression, but I don't feel like it.
Well,
that's hard. And it's absolutely not. But I don't know. I don't know how I got so bad here.
KATJA, thank you so much. And it's The Finnish Way by KATJA PANTZAR. And but let's get right to sisu. How would you define it for a naive American who's never heard the phrase?
Essentially, sisu is a special form of Finnish fortitude that in the face of challenge. And so the challenges can be small or big. And the idea is that instead of sort of giving up and lying down, you just push on. The historical examples are pretty hardcore. They include, wartime victories over, for example, the former Soviet Union, and Olympic wins. There was a runner who, in the 1972 Olympics, Lasse Viren, he was in the 10,000 meter race, and he fell, and everybody thought, that's it. And not only did he get up, he continued to run, but he went on to actually win the race and set a new world record. And that's what a lot of Finns tell me, that's sisu. But I think in the modern day context, there is a kind of daily sisu, which is exactly, getting out there, for example, when it's raining or sleeting or snowing, and going for a walk or a jog or a dip in the sea. And, whatever the challenge is, to try to turn it around in your favor and not sort of immediately give up.
Yes. You mention in the book that sisu doesn't come from holding on harder. That's kind of an Americanism, but from letting go. And I think you mean by that, be open to new ideas to solve a challenge.
Yeah, I think that, sort of good healthy sisu means, you recognize if, for example, you're tired and you're not going to be able to do all the things on your to-do list or have the difficult conversation with your boss, or, it might be better to do it tomorrow. Or likewise, for example, I winter swim, and, some days I go for 3 dips and I stay in much longer, and some days it's just one quick dip, because I realize that I don't need to, and it's not healthy to push myself. But it's a fine balance of knowing when you need to sort of push yourself up to get off the couch, so to speak, and do something that's going to make you feel better, and when you need to let go.
But does it also mean engaging, new thoughts with others to ask for help in solving a challenge?
I think definitely it does. I think, and if we talk about, challenges big and small, it's always easier when you do things together, when there's community, as opposed to doing things solo. I mean, of course, there are some things that are best done solo, but I would say the greatest number of big challenges are really things that benefit from group. And whether it's something as simple as, having a buddy when you go winter swimming, or something much larger like, a massive project at work that needs help.
Don't be afraid to ask for help, new ideas, new thoughts. I want to show a video of an American TV talk show host talking about your new prime minister.
Oh, yes.
This is a short, which is a wonderful topic. This is and why can't younger people be running governments? All right.
Yes.
But then I want to, after this, we'll come back and we'll talk about forest therapy. But this is a short segment. I think it's only a couple minutes long. You should be able to hear it, KATJA, and it's Trevor Noah, and I'm going to cue Jason right now.
Some international news coming out of Finland. It's the country that's usually known for lakes, snow, and not being Norway. But now, they've got a pretty cool claim to fame.
Britain's Guardian says a 34-year-old Sanna Marin of Finland will become the world's youngest sitting prime minister. Yesterday, Finland's ruling Social Democratic Party voted to name Marin the next prime minister. She's the country's transport minister and the party's vice chairwoman. She's been a lawmaker since 2015.
Yes, Finland now has the youngest leader in the world. A 34-year-old woman named Sanna Marin. And you know what's even more impressive? Look at the other leaders of Finland's coalition government. Huh? Look at that. 5 women. Killing the game. In fact, I'm starting to think Finland is secretly that island from Wonder Woman. That's all this is. Also, you do realize that's an entire government that Mike Pence can't be in a room with, right? Even more impressive to me is that 4 of them are under the age of 35, which is wild. Because in America, you can't even be president until you turn 35. Yeah, and if you're in the government, you can just keep running until you're 1,000. I don't understand why there's no old age limits. Yeah, because think about it, you have congressmen who can't stay awake. You have a senator who took off glasses he wasn't even wearing. And like, we don't even know how old Mitch McConnell is. You'd have to count the flaps of his neck like the rings of a tree. We don't even know. You know what would be funny when you think about it is like, can you imagine if that group of leaders from Finland met with the US leaders? It's going to look like they're visiting their parents in an old age home. It's like, we want to talk to you about trade. And it's like, and we want to talk to you about fixing our VCR. And don't put us in one of those tiki-talks. That happened to Gladys and now she's viral.
All right, so wonderful. And look, we live in a world of technology. Doesn't this itself lend the argument that younger people should be running the world?
I would be inclined to agree.
KATJA?
I have to confess, I did not hear that clip, but I think I have heard it. Maybe you guys could quickly summarize. Is that the clip where he's just praising Sanna Marin, our new prime minister, who is in her mid-30s?
Yes, exactly. And he points out the other major women in the government, the cabinet, so to speak, who are all women and all young in age as well. And so it basically throwing a lot of props to this compared to the old white men who run our country.
Yes, I definitely, it's also about the idea of new, young ideas and new ways of doing things. Yes.
New ways of doing things and technology changing our life every 6 months drastically. And this is something where American senators had trouble asking, what's his name from Facebook, how it actually works.
That
Zuckerberg.
Was so cringy. Yes, it really does highlight the rift in understanding here and there. But yeah, we definitely have that, where I guess it's sort of what you were saying before, where we just hold on as hard as we can, and when we push ourselves to an unhealthy extent, or for the wrong reasons, or we have this whole culture of grind until you die and then look down on anyone who doesn't take the time to sit back and enjoy life. I don't know. I think that's what pushing yourself means here in the United States. And yeah, as you said, holding on to things maybe longer than we should. And perhaps that's what happened to our government.
KATJA, can I highlight another article that was recent also about Finland's approach, and I think you sent this to me, Lexen, to the homeless problem.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So we're just going to highlight this article. I sent the link, and it just points out that Finland's approach is way different, and so because of that, homelessness is extremely low. Among all European countries, Finland ranks the lowest, I think is what it said. But yeah, Finland has homelessness. The rest of Europe is failing. And basically, the country has found it easier to try to help the homeless rather than ignore them as we do here.
Yeah, I mean, I think here in a lot of countries, we say, okay, well, we'll help you, but on this or that condition. And sometimes it's more or less impossible to meet these conditions, but we want to say, we help you if you help yourself, but that's not always
that might be the case in how they do it. What, KATJA, can you comment on that?
Well, I think again it's a very good example of sisu on some level, as you have this like wicked problem, and instead of brushing it under the carpet, so to speak, or say pushing the blame onto, for example, the people who are homeless, it was like, okay, we have a serious situation here. What should we do? And the kind of obvious solution was, let's give the homeless homes. That will probably help the situation.
How simple is that?
Yeah. And a lot of the reasons why people are homeless, they need help with a variety of things. It's they've had several setbacks. There may be illness in the background. There may be poverty. There may be addiction. And, these are things that people together need help with, not something that you can deal with on your own. And the very simple solution of, giving homes to the homeless has been a really big success.
As Lexen brought up, is there then a condition that they go to treatment, that they go to job training, that there's a requirement there?
I believe there are some conditions, but I think that part of the success of the program has been that actually a lot of people have benefited from having somebody care, and somebody set some conditions, like these are the things that you need to do in order to keep your home, and we're going to help you with them. But there is also a certain amount of autonomy. I must say I'm not an expert on this specific case, but my understanding is there is a certain amount of autonomy in that, it's up to you to take care of your business, as it were.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just an ingrained culture in the country that you can't ride along with nothing for a while. You are a Finn, and you're gonna get out of this and make something happen.
Sisu.
Yeah. But also the reality that people do need help, and
Sure.
that there is a very strong social security net here, compared to some other countries.
We don't help people here. We really don't.
I think it's kind of like what you
don't.
said, Lexen, where it's like if you're not on the level of certain people in our country, in America anyway, if you're not at the level of certain individuals, they look down on a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So especially like the homeless or people suffering from mental illness or anybody like that who's not considered up to par with some other individuals, they look down on them and basically kind of just don't have any interest in helping out.
Yeah, exactly. And like KATJA was saying, things like mental illness and addiction are not often things you can handle by yourself, whether or not you want to. It's not that the will isn't there. It's just that it's very, very hard, near impossible to do it by yourself. And I think, yeah, maybe in this country, we sort of expect people to do a lot of that by themselves. And from what I had understood from the Finnish article, it was yeah, we worry about that later. First, let's get you a home, let's get you set up, let's get your family taken care of, and then we can talk about getting help for addiction, getting help for mental illness, getting some job training going on, getting all of this into a happy, harmonious life instead of just holding these sorts of things over their heads. Sort of like, I don't know, some of the programs here is, okay, but you have to stop doing drugs first. Well, that's really hard to do by yourself. It's like,
exactly.
How about you help me, and then we can work something out.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is too, and this, my opinion, is maybe they're stuck in these certain circles that they keep doing the same thing. And, you know, so yes, where they don't have a home, so they turn to drugs and all that kind of stuff. Or
vicious,
you know,
cycle.
You can't pull yourself out of that rut if you're doing the same things over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, mental addiction and mental illness and addiction go hand in hand. And again, it's the sort of lifestyle illnesses that we tend to face, but it's
KATJA,
all a vicious cycle.
Quick comments that we have just some heads up from our chat room, our live chat room on Facebook. And so Don in Philadelphia is checking in from the Addicts show that he's attending. How cool is that?
Love the Addicts.
Yeah, and they're coming to Dallas too.
Oh, I can't
wait.
And
says hello, but also some hellos from Richard Nettleton and Sean Ashlock. And thank you very much, guys, for input and learning a little about Finland and Sisu. Is forest therapy a major element of this? And kind of explain that to us too.
Yeah, so forest therapy, I think that it exists in other countries in other forms. I think the Japanese have been in the headlines a lot with their forest therapy. But the idea is that basically the forest can heal you. And it can be as simple as a 15-minute walk in the woods, in a park. You don't need to head out to, you know, like a national park that's on the outskirts of where you live or anything. But just spending time in green, in nature, and kind of calming down, and, you know, the sounds and the smells and the very act of just walking in the woods really reduces stress and can help with a lot of things that ail us in terms of, I believe there's been some studies done with diabetes and some other illnesses as well, in terms of looking to see if actually, you know, having a regular exercise program in the forest, you know, helps bring down blood pressure, stress, but also you're getting fresh air. And then there's also all the positives of, you know, the smell of the forest, and, you know, you're observing the flowers and stuff. And so the idea is you can really incorporate this into your daily life. Depends where you live, but where I live, for example, there are parks everywhere, and the city is surrounded by the water. So I essentially partake in nature or forest therapy every day, just, you know, for 5 or 10 minutes as I'm biking to work, or when I go for a dip in the sea.
How cool is that?
That is so great. Yeah, here we have an app. You can download an app on your phone, and it makes forest sounds so that you are less stressed out.
I don't think that's the same thing.
Well, but the point is, yes, it's definitely a sensual experience. All your senses experience,
yeah, and it makes absolute sense to get out there, be one with nature.
The sounds of the forest and the smells and the visuals.
I just find it hilarious that our answer to that is, well, you can get an app for that. So why would we get up and go into nature when you can just get nature sounds on your phone?
Yeah,
a lot of people
get one of those pine tree air fresheners and just
get
scratch
the aromatherapy
it.
thing, and you get the app on your phone, and then you're not stressed out anymore, right? But no, I think this is really interesting and really cool. Something came up in an article I read semi-recently that was talking about the Green Death movement. A whole different topic. Funerals and caskets and stuff are not going to be sustainable before too long because it takes up a lot of space. It's a lot of effort. So there's embalmer societies and whatnot that are kind of trying to reform death. And one of the really great things that they're starting to work on is putting aside acres of land for the green burial pod, where your remains can be in a pod with a tree seed, and you grow a tree. So your family can go into these forests that will always be protected. This is something that will never be able to bulldoze it, and they're mapping out quite a lot. So I'm very hopeful for this. And it was mentioned that you're going to be kind of forced into a forest therapy where you go and you visit your loved ones, and you're like in nature, and you have a path to this one tree, and it's supposed to be very
So
therapeutic more so than a cemetery.
Is the goal that you would have your own tree then grow
Yeah.
from? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so in Afterlife, and yeah, it's a big
Movement.
I forget what the species were, but yeah, these trees that are to live for a very long time, and they're also, going to just reforest entire chunks of land, and you'll have these giant protected parks that people will go to. They believe people will be more inclined to go because you'll have this sort of spiritual connection, and then that's very therapeutic.
I think KATJA is saying the forests talk to us now. They talk to us. We just have to slow down and listen.
Yeah, but I like that idea. That's very sustainable of becoming a tree, and it's something that your family and friends can go and visit.
Now, all right. So, does it say something about our primal nature that we all feel and benefit from being refreshed in walking through a forest?
I think definitely. I think it's also our connection to nature has been lost on so many levels, because so many of us live kind of online in-car lifestyles. And there's so many things that we can just get at the press of a button delivered to our doorstep. I think just the very act of walking in an area where there's trees, where there's gravel or soil, better yet, soil, or dirt, and seeing water, just that connection to nature is so therapeutic, but it's also, it's part of us. It's where we've come from. It's what we are. And I think a lot of us have lost sight of that. It's
our heritage, as I think Lex and I were previously Vikings, and so it's a connection to our past.
I like that.
Hey, from Dallas, where we are, you can actually get a flight to Helsinki in the month of February for like $600. I'm just throwing that out there, people. Yeah, because it's kind of the off season, I guess.
It is.
Oh gosh, how cold is it though?
It's cold.
Yeah, but how cold is February?
KATJA.
It's always cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, some parts of Finland are very cold right now, but actually Helsinki, with this climate change thing that we've got going on, it's been sort of +4, +6 degrees Celsius in the last couple of days, which is really quite mild. And we're all waiting for snow, which we have not really had yet this winter.
Okay.
So February may be cold. It may not be cold. And it depends what cold is for you, because some people find 0 is cold, and some people feel like -10 isn't cold enough.
Gotcha.
Oh gosh.
A couple of little things. So last night I was watching my favorite movie, and it's actually from Finland. It's called Heavy Trip, and it's about a metal band. And this is a Finnish movie. Heavy Trip. I recommend it to you.
Trip.
Yeah, KATJA, if you haven't seen it. So in the movie, they have something called a speed camera, and so instead of like the police out on the road testing your speed if you're driving by, the camera takes a snapshot of, and it records your speed and captures a picture of you going too fast, and then you just get a ticket in the mail, I guess. So.
Yeah.
How efficient.
Yes.
That's a sidebar, but I just wanted to know if that was true. Are there speed cameras?
Yes, there are.
Another reason to
and
ride your
bike.
bike.
Ticket in the mail.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, how smart and simple is that?
It's pretty efficient.
It's a little camera out on the edge of the road, and it knows how fast you're going.
Wait, and you just trust the citizens not to push it over and break it, to vandalize it on purpose.
I'm sure that probably happens because hey, we've been saying all this stuff, but Finland is not perfect. But
How dare you?
No, but it certainly ranks first on a lot of happiness charts and healthiness and many others.
So I did want to chime in real quick.
Sure.
We have a big shout out to Raven for sharing the stream. So appreciate that.
All right.
Raven.
And Jesse Ashford actually commented, he said, rivers and sources of running water produce negative ions and can relieve stress and actually cause biochemical reactions to increase serotonin production. So little science for you on that one.
Yeah, and Richard said he would love to visit Finland. So look, if we come over, I'm going to call you from the first phone I see in Helsinki, KATJA.
For sure, although there are no payphones anymore in this country.
Oh,
It's all,
shame.
yeah.
I think that's every
you'll have
country
to-
at this
You have to
point.
bring your mobile with you.
Gotcha. I'll set up the European plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
yeah.
$600 is that round trip
I
flight
think
to
it
Finland?
was round trip from Dallas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If we get with like a tour group, can we get a discount? Should we just get all of our metalhead friends and go to Finland?
We're into
got a
metal.
big
We're into
coat.
metal, KATJA, on this show, and so we
Yeah.
really like all the Finnish metal bands who are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're extreme,
Yes.
and we love that.
Yeah, there's definitely a big metal scene here, so I think you'd be pretty happy if you
And
came.
hey, last question. So this came up in the movie Heavy Trip. I recommend it to you, Lexen.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch it.
What is a Laplander?
A person from Lapland. Lapland is, of course, the region to the top of the country, and it stretches through. There's Finnish Lapland, but there's also the other bordering countries like Russian and Norwegian Lapland and Swedish Lapland. But essentially, it's a person who lives in that part of the world, and it's very extreme, of course, because they have something called kaamos, which they really don't have very much daylight in the depths of winter, and then in the middle of summer they've got 24 hours of sunlight because of the extreme northern location. And somebody who is actually, they're actually called Sami, not Laplanders, the people who are the indigenous people of that region.
Oh, how interesting.
So it's
I did not-
Sami, and there's indigenous people from
cool.
and really they're in the Arctic Circle, aren't they?
Yeah, basically above the Arctic Circle, because it's a large stretch of area. But the Sami have their own language. There's even Sami language news here in Finland on the Public Broadcasting Corporation, and it is. There are not a lot of Sami speakers, but there is a definite effort to protect their
Protect the
language
language.
and their culture. Yeah.
If I'm in Helsinki, can I easily get a train to I'm sorry to Lapland to see and talk to some Samis?
You can get a train to Lapland, or you can fly. It's about an hour and a half flight.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, taking a train would be very sustainable and a slightly longer trip. But yes, you can. When you go to Lapland, there are places where you can meet Sami people, and there are Sami cultural center like museums and things like that. And yes, you definitely can.
Now, rumor has it that if you have young children, you can get a flight to, and you tell me if this is true, KATJA, fly to Lapland, land, and get welcomed by Santa Claus himself,
Oh, wow.
and then see reindeer and go visit Santa's village. Is this true? Does he
This
live
is
in?
totally true. This is totally true.
So,
Yes.
do Finnish families with children take the flight and like on I don't know Christmas Eve or something and go visit Saint Nicholas?
I think these days it's the majority are foreign tourists and visitors who take their kids. I think it's really popular with the Brits, for example, to fly into Lapland, take their kids to see Santa Claus, and to do the whole thing. But yes, it's totally possible. Rovaniemi, which is the capital of Finnish Lapland, is where Santa Claus lives, the official home of Santa Claus.
Did you know that?
And,
I did not know that.
Yes.
And so you can fly and so I'm sorry. Go ahead, KATJA.
No, I was just going to say that yes, you can go and meet Santa Claus in Rovaniemi. Yes.
So obviously this is set up for children to show them, hey, this is really where Santa lives, and there's reindeer around and Santa's house or whatever it might be called. Right?
Yes.
So-
Yes, and there are reindeer. There are reindeer just about everywhere in Lapland. It's one of these things when you go to Lapland. I was there, I think it was October, and every time I go, I just think, wow, this is unbelievable. It's like, was this set up, because it looks like you've walked onto a movie set or something, because they literally are walking across the road and along the roadside, and yeah.
So
cool.
kids think they're really visiting the North Pole.
Well, yeah, of course.
Right.
It's as close as you're going to get. And
It is the North Pole.
And it is, right.
Yeah, and I remember reading about the Finnish reindeer forces in the war. Was that the Lapland War or was that the Winter War?
I'm not familiar with that story.
In the war, I guess, well, you know, the Soviet neighbors were not always super good neighbors, and the Finns were, I guess, not 100% ready, but they had a reindeer force. From what I remember reading, it was a while ago that I read this, but the soldiers had reindeer. I don't know if they were riding them or if they were carrying supplies. I think they were like overgrown donkeys.
Yeah, I think they were carrying supplies because you can't really ride a reindeer.
I imagine it would be difficult. I'd still try it.
See what you learn on this show? Don't ride reindeer.
Very educational.
But they could carry stuff for you.
Yeah, I feel like they would be able to carry a lot of stuff.
And they can handle the snow, and they can handle mountains and terrain, and yeah, that's what you need if you're fighting Russians in Finland.
Yeah, because the Russians had their tanks and artillery vehicles, and they weren't quite as maneuverable as the Finns could get their reindeer up and down hills back and forth on bad terrain. So I thought that was fascinating.
Absolutely. So cool. Hey, KATJA, really appreciate your time with us today, and I appreciate you staying up late, carving out some time to speak with us, and I hope everyone has a chance, and I'm holding up the book, to check out The Finnish Way, and yes, it's in English, but I think KATJA also has released books in Finn as well.
I mean, it sounds like the whole world can benefit from being a little bit more Finnish.
Right?
I agree.
Yes. Yes.
A lot to learn.
This is the way you need to live, or at least adopt some of these ideas to live a longer, healthier life. And you know, when I see people who post on Facebook, I'm depressed today, which there are a lot, I feel like saying, well, meet me in the park right now. I've got 3 Frisbees, and let's just go move. Move your body.
Yeah.
Move your effing body. And you won't be depressed after throwing Frisbee with me for 90 minutes.
Who could be depressed after playing Frisbee with Satan?
In the snow. In the snow or non-snow. There you go. KATJA, I'm sorry. We would love to have you back, and let's just stay in touch. I really appreciate your insight and you know, putting this book out there to let people know about your beloved country.
Thank you. It was totally a pleasure to be on the show.
We really appreciate you.
Yeah,
Lexen.
thanks so much for talking to us. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Welcome.
We'll see you again. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
I'm going to check the chat room.
Oh, okay.
Check the chat room. Would you?
Check the chat room.
Yeah. Would you give us a quick overview of what's coming up February 16th? That was just announced.
Yes. So this was just announced just a couple of days ago. We are going to have a metal show at Gas Monkey Bar and Grill in honor of Raven. Raven is the DJ, the resident DJ for The Dungeon on KNON, and we are celebrating 20 years of him not having a Saturday night off. Really, so much he has put into this, completely given himself to it, and it is about time that he gets the honor he deserves. So Raven, this is for you. It's your birthday party. KNON party as well. Just 20 years of The Dungeon. That's crazy. I can't believe this has been going on for ever since 2000, but we have some great bands. We're going to have Kill Everything is headlining for us. Psychiatric Regurgitation will play Judas Goat, Demon Hammer, Nocturnal Wolf, and
Verrückt.
I like how he says it. He says it better. Verrückt. So that will be an awesome show. Not only do we have so many great metal bands, we will also have a screening of The Curse of Valborgia. Did I say that right? Valborgia. The Curse of Valborgia screening. This is a one and only screening in the U.S. Is that right?
Yeah, okay. I think it was shown once before at a horror convention, or a film festival, horror film festival, once before in like Memphis or somewhere.
Wow. Okay.
But only once. So this is definitely an
pretty good.
exclusive, a very special screening of Curse of Valborga, a European film made in Sweden. Was it Sweden? But from Nicholas Kvarforth of Swedish metal band. Yeah, Shining. So
yeah, from
so
the
get
Shining,
there early
cool.
to see the movie, 6 o'clock.
Yes, screening will begin at 6 o'clock, so you guys definitely don't want to miss that. But do come out and see us. We'll have vendors and everything. I'm excited to see what kind of vendors.
Yeah, the bands will all have their merch, of course.
Yes.
But we will have the dark side of vendors. And aren't you getting a table to vend?
Oh, I don't know.
You can.
No,
I mean, because you make all kinds of cool shit.
I do have all kinds of cool shit.
Yes, you do.
Well, I'll think about it. I don't know.
Hey, Sean said he was talking about the Finnish ski division. To get to places faster.
Yes,
and
we talked about that last time.
Yeah, we did.
The Finns actually were on skis, skiing around the Russians. They could ski right up to the tanks and throw a Molotov in there and ski away with a crowbar in the treads before they even knew what was happening.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons they were so successful was that maneuverability and that ingenuity, the problem solving. We got reindeers, we got skis. They have tanks, but whatever. Fascinating.
And Jesse says, shout out to KNON and love to KNON for everything KNON does. And that's you, girl.
Oh, no.
And Raven
No,
and all the other KNON people and DJs and Dave Chaos and the whole family.
And thank you, Jesse. Thank you guys for all your support. There's no way that we could have been doing this for 20 years without our amazing listeners. This is entirely listener supported. So
I think we actually have a couple of pics of Raven.
Oh yes, we
Oh,
should.
yeah.
Over here.
Everything you've got there, definitely.
That is
All right.
not
That's
the
not
right
Raven.
So all right. So hang on
Yeah,
a second.
I got it.
No,
hey,
wait.
hey, that's fine.
We want to see pictures of KATJA too, because
Well, that photo. I wanted to. I wanted to talk about that because I saw that and I was like, I would die. I would die immediately. But I guess with Sisu, you can power through. I don't know.
I mean, there's like 90-year-old men who go swimming.
I know.
It's polar bears, so I think we're fine. I think it's possible. I
Maybe
don't
if
know.
somebody holds my hand. That's the other part of Sisu that I learned is you can ask for help.
Yes,
you
you
need help.
can. Look, so there is the magnificent man himself, Mr. Raven Dungeon, hard at work in the studio, and he's got an Infidel Rising, and of course he's wearing glasses
yes.
here, but showing off.
That's the old studio.
Oh, it is.
That was 2 studios ago. And,
Oh,
for me, that was 2 laptops ago. My laptop in the corner. But yeah, all the work he puts into this, has put into this over the years, puts into this every Saturday night. It's definitely a call for celebration.
It is 20 years, man. So it's a celebration. It's really a thank you to Raven and a celebration. So come in a good mood.
Yes.
To listen to some metal, get in a mosh pit, buy some merch, and say thank you and shake hands with Raven Dungeon.
Yeah, and it's his birthday as well. So
birthday celebration too.
You should buy him some merch or support the vendors, support the bands, buy some merch, give it to Raven.
So thanks to to everyone who's helped put that together, including Mouse and including Aubrey and including a lot of people. Okay, lucky enough we were able to put it together at Gas Monkey as a Corpsepaint show and Lexen Destro production, which is badass itself.
That is pretty cool.
The date is a Sunday. It's February 16th. And doors open at 5:30, and that film will start at 6. So we're only showing the film at 6 o'clock. On the screen at Bar and Grill, Gas Monkey Bar and Grill in Dallas, and they'll have seating set out there or some tables in the back.
Oh, that's so cool. So yeah, definitely, you don't want to miss that. It's super exclusive. We don't know if or when it will ever be played again. Maybe another horror convention or something, but we don't know. Might not ever be shown again in Dallas or not in the near future. So worth checking out. Very cool horror movie. I watched the trailer. It's like a Nazi zombie situation.
Oh my gosh!
I love Nazi zombie movies.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And then of course followed by the headliner Kill Everything and all these other 5 other great bands as well.
Yes.
So
that's
get there
hell
and
of a lineup.
right.
Yeah.
Let's just say it again.
So
Verrückt opens the night,
Verrückt.
and then Nocturnal Wolf, Demon Hammer, Judas Goat.
Judas Goat.
Fuck yeah, that's some good black metal.
It is.
Psychiatric Regurgitation. I
They are
remember.
so good.
I remember when Raven had him on his show.
Yeah.
Asking, talking about the lyrics that I don't understand because they were singing death metal lyrics, But then Raven would, would say, "Hey, look, what's this song about? What's this song about?"
Yeah.
And
that's like his
then of course,
superpower.
fucking Kill Everything.
Yes.
Right,
I am
Scorched
so
Earth,
excited.
their new release. So
yeah, this is an entire metal festival now. So
So,
I'm so
yeah.
stoked, and thank you guys so much, everyone who came together to make this happen. Like he was saying, we had so many people that jumped in and like couldn't wait to help, and it really goes to show that Raven just goes around touching people's lives.
yes, he does, and let's celebrate it now.
Yes.
Well, let's celebrate it now. Let's celebrate KNON and Raven and his anniversary now. Come and celebrate the fun, the healthiness, the energy, the power of metal and horror metal movies.
Exactly. Especially after everything KNON's been through lately. We got wiped out by a tornado. and managed to pull through. Again, thanks to you guys, thanks to our listeners, our pledgers. We got in a new studio. We're still getting it built out and everything, so we'll be getting the broadcast room put together. We'll be able to interview bands again. So, again, thank all of you guys for all of that. None of this would be possible without y'all.
Hey, just for the record and for clarification, let's say there's someone new watching. How would they see or hear you on KNON? Yeah, please tell us how you fit into the dungeon and when and where and how.
Yes, so the dungeon is every Saturday night from midnight to 4 a.m. It's all manner of extreme metal. I will come in and do every other Saturday night. They were kind enough to invite me to share my black metal collection with the rest of the listeners, so I will do the black metal spot at 1 a.m. It's every other Saturday, so I do a bi-monthly Lexen Destro black metal power hours. That's sort of, I guess, what it just became. So definitely check that out if you like black metal, but still tune in every Saturday. You can hear black metal, death metal, all kinds of extreme underground metal, the local stuff, and really it's so cool because we are, again, listener supported. There's nobody telling us what to do or what to play except for you guys. And we go out of our way to find new cool stuff, new local stuff, things that we think doesn't suck that we can share with all you guys.
No corporate control.
Exactly. No corporate control.
You
no
choose.
Commercials or anything like that. So,
yeah.
So yeah, it gives us a lot of freedom. And then it also makes your voice heard. KNON is the voice of the people. 89.3 FM, and you can listen on knon.org. There's a stream. You can listen any time of day. There's a little button up at the top that says listen now. There it is. You can also go to either here on this site or Radio Free America for any archived shows. If you scroll down a bit, there's a little button you can hit. You can find our archive shows. And that's kind of new. We're like finally with the times now with the archiving and everything. So.
And really what you're saying, and hey, Jesse says, long live the dungeon.
Yes.
And Sean commented again about the Russian tanks had trouble going over the hills, and this is, made them vulnerable to, ski attacks from the strong Finnish skiers who had a sense of Caesar.
Exactly. And isn't that fascinating? This is something the Russians were not entirely prepared for, especially the Winter War. That was the coldest winter on record, and Russians they do cold.
Oh, yeah.
They have plenty of cold, but this was just the extreme elements were almost too much. And they ran in there thinking, yeah, this will be easy, and not expecting dudes on skis with Molotov cocktails.
Right. Who have an inner strength, a resilience, a fortitude that makes them finish what they start.
Yes, and the greatest sniper in history.
Did you get that?
The White Death.
The White Death. Yeah, they dress in all white.
Well, there was a one particular sniper that went by the nickname White Death because of their uniform, and he, oh gosh, I can't remember exactly. Maybe Sean knows that it was, I think, over 500 confirmed Russian kills, and that was just.
So he would hide in the snow in white, and he had his rifle, and they probably didn't know where it was coming from.
No, not
right?
at all.
He's camouflaged.
Yeah. And he was able to maintain his position in the freezing snow for hours, for days, and not move or move very slowly.
So the White Death.
The White
Simo
Death.
Hayya. Right, there we go.
500 enemy troops within 100 days.
Is that the name of the soldier?
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay, it's almost like Sisu.
It is.
Simo.
Maybe
Simo
definitely had
Sisu.
Sisu. Yeah. I think that's where Sisu was born. I don't know, but that guy's an incredible, just an amazing figure in history.
50 people a day. Or no, wait, that's 5 people a day he killed.
Well, man, I tell you.
That's hardcore.
Okay. Woo!
All right. White Death. Everyone, y'all are going to get your Finnish history lesson here on the Corpsepaint show.
Yeah, that's right. And so why don't you come back in like a couple of weeks if you can. Whatever works for you. Okay, we're here every Sunday. But before the thank you to Raven Dungeon big anniversary party on February 16th, if you can come back before then, or a couple times before then if it works.
We have plenty of time.
And we'll talk about it some more. We'll talk about these bands. We'll play some music from all these bands who are playing there, and highlight these bands, where you can find their material, what their Facebook page is about, and learn about local effing good Finnish style. Well, maybe not. grind extreme metal.
Texas style.
We call it
And,
sinister metal.
Yeah, Dallas, the area really has no shortage of talented metal acts. So this is awesome. And I think we have just an amazing lineup here. I'm super excited about this. I'm really glad everyone who wanted to participate. So I can't wait. And I know I will see all you guys there. February 16th. It's a Valentine's Day weekend. Get your date, do your Valentine's Day stuff, and then get ready. We're going to do metal.
Yeah, on that Sunday.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Hey, so we got to wrap it up.
Right.
Thank you for being here, Lexen Destro. Jason Stark on the engineer board. Always appreciative of you, Jason. And last word, we hope you get what you deserve. This is the Corpsepaint Show. We'll be back here next Sunday. Ooh. We want you to elevate your life by going underground. By that we mean supporting independent art, independent music, independent print, independent movies.